Hello, everyone. It's 2 minutes past the hour, and what a lovely surprise to have you all in our discussion room about a very important emerging topic, politics and the future civilizations, possibly eco-civilization, a transformative journey towards a new paradigm. Altogether, a very promising topic, and indeed, it will offer today a lot of space for your own inputs and discussions based on the opening statements of our exceptional guests today. The whole series is part of the Connectathon sessions. Connectathon is a platform for discussions organized by 8 Goals, 1 Foundation, Social Systems Labs, and Ecocivilisation Movement. And with me today, there are all these exceptional people. And I think I will not spend too much time introducing them, but all of them are authors. All of us are authors, system thinkers. We're trying to open questions that seek answers beyond the current understandings of our societies. And I sense that many of you are following the same path. So we will make sure that you get a chance to reflect, challenge our thoughts, and of course, join in a 2 hours lively conversation on this very pressing topic. Allow me first to use this time for a couple of introductory points, and then I will invite my colleagues to join in. First of all, I think we all agree we live in very dynamic times, but probably in the past, pretty much that was said for every single period, because that's what life is all about, is an ongoing, constant change. And it sometimes seems that only humans try to freeze the evolution in time and space and keep it the way it was for the future as well. And as we can see, we are seriously challenged on that kind of attitude, and usually that ends up in a destructive force and in destructive consequences of our acts. But let's just take a moment and clarify a few of the basic concepts we will be dealing with today. First, civilization. What is it? And the most generic definition would be that civilization is generally defined as an advanced state of human society containing highly developed forms of government, science, culture, industry, and common social norms. Civilizations, which is very interesting, when you look back at least for the last 10, 12,000 years, you will see that they're often responsible for their own decline. However, it would not be fair, but admitting that their self-destruction is usually assisted by different forces, either natural or emerging new powerhouses of human emerging societies. What I found very interesting is also that when you study civilization, it's often stressed that the theory of normal accidents suggests that complex technological systems regularly give way to a failure. And if anything, this should be of a close observation in our societies today. Eco-civilizations or eco-civilization definition often refers to a holistic societal model that integrates ecological sustainability and environmental harmony as fundamental principle in the development of human civilization. It envisioned a harmonious coexistence between humanity and the planet, recognizing that the health and prosperity of both are intertwined. And this seemed to be very alien to our current political and social frameworks. We are somehow trying to find a way back, but because of the lack of systemic approach, it seems like we are failing more often than succeeding. And it is somehow a consequence of industrial mindset, which defined the last 400 years of human civilizations and kind of pushed first humans to alienate ourselves from nature later on, and pushed us to start living in the cities and serving this industrial system. And then, of course, that was not enough in order to contain people focused on the interest of the industrial mindsets. We needed to alienate humans from each other. And in many aspects, we've done that quite successfully. However, even that was not enough. With so-called Nature 3, with the virtual world, we seem to be alienating humans from ourselves. And that's, of course, it's a very reasonable question then. What's the future of human civilization? Are we ready to replace it with transhumanization concepts? Or can we reawaken our connections with the planet itself, with the natural basic ecosystems, with the universal constellation and relationships, and reinvent really all these relationships to reposition human being back into the more complex, less technological frameworks where technology can basically serve us and not dominate us. So here comes then an attempt to address these issues closely, bringing beautiful minds from all over the world together and try to see the way forward in a more systemic, planet-based, conscious development. Eco-civilization movement is just one little piece to it, but today all of our speakers will present their views, their networks, their roots and backgrounds that brought their thoughts forward. And as you will see today, we are trying to do the network of the network, cross connections and cross pollination of our thoughts and interests and visions and inner incentives in order to move forward and try to find a moment where the civilizational paradigm might be more guided than being surprised by it and finish on the pile of history like all other previous civilizations have done. So Ecocivilisation movement is basically a purpose-driven disruptive cluster inviting us to unite in a respectful, collaborative endeavor aimed at the safeguarding our planet as an ecological heaven within our galaxy. Sometimes it seems too big to look the big picture, but only when you really look at the big picture, you can see the situation that you're in. If we take a look at the role of the planet Earth in the constellation of planets, all of a sudden we see what a unique and unbelievable planet that is, full of life and constant evolution. So sometimes we really need to invite ourselves to take this broader view. And considering that we as humans are invited, that we uplift societies by cross-connecting and harmonizing with the laws of nature and the profound resonance of the source vibration of the universe, which is light, white light, and on the planet Earth, we call it love. So how does politics fit into the framework of this civilizational paradigms? Well, again, if we take a look at the last couple of 100 years, we will see that our society has been shaped by 7 drivers of power, which are very active today. Among others is corporations, media, aristocracy, religious institutions, science and technology, culture and sport, and politics. All these have direct access to resources, or rather they are granted the managerial power in order to deliver their goals. And for some reason, at one point, these goals became more and more alienated from the overall interest of the society and became a subject of elite, self-called elite groups who, instead of after prosperity, they are after power of, and also very egoistic self-fulfillment. And that's where the anarchy and decadency comes in, especially in the form of destruction, which is not always a bad thing, as we will probably hear from our next speaker, but definitely needs to be, we need to be aware of it. And I wonder if we can make a shift, and can we even imagine in our minds a different framework within which society evolves. For example, instead of those institutional 7 drivers of force of progress, can we build a society that is value-based? For example, instead of institutions, can we put forward the values that empower our relationships, like empathy, stewardship, care, collaboration, inclusion, engagement, and the basic frequency of relationships, which is love? That's an open question, and I hope we will have some good answers today. Before I conclude, I'd like to bring forward a couple of challenges today that are inviting us to take a look at these drivers of progress in the society, as well as civilizational paradigm from a broader systemic perspective. And at the same time, I would propose that these are usually also the change makers. First, there is no doubt today that we are experiencing some severe climate changes, which are mostly related to heavy weather conditions that are appearing all over the world. They are different than they might be 20, 30 years ago, and that they could possibly lead to a serious climate change. We know today that 12,000 years ago, there was a big disaster on this planet Earth that substantially changed the conditions and destroyed more than 80% of entire biodiversity on planet Earth. So can we prepare for something like that? Is that something normal and usual? Are we, by any chance, in the middle of this process today? And how can we readjust? How can we develop resilience for that? I do believe that today our focus on sustainable development is, of course, very much needed, but it's missing a strong, resilient component which could help humanity, and along with that also to other species, to have a higher level capacity for readjustments. Then the other very important element that is new, as far as we know today, in our society is land ownership and migration. Today we live in the world where every square meter is claimed. So every migration, no matter how small, is causing serious societal disruptions and possibly leads to even political conflicts that sometimes result in very severe conflicts and wars. So that was alien to humanity in the past. People have been migrating for thousands and thousands of years. With every kind of climate change and severe weather changes, people started to move and look for better places to live. Today, this is almost impossible. As you can tell, we have no good solutions for such movements. And we are just at the beginning of understanding this challenge and facing it. Then is global connectivity, which we haven't had such a connected world that is accessible to pretty much every individual and every organization as we have today. And it's a good question. Is this a plus or is it a minus? It's bringing a lot of good, positive conditions. I mean, the fact that we can talk today and we are here together today is the result of that. On the other hand, it's also an incredible source of manipulation. So how to develop a human inner spirit and consciousness strong enough that she or he always knows what's right and wrong. Because in the overall constellation of energies globally, that balance exists. It's just, can we access it? How can we clear our sensors in order to get the right sense and to be able to know what's manipulation and what is the real reality? But last but not least, I would like to really bring forward the issue of corporate influence. Especially for politics, this is becoming a serious challenge. It almost seems like the corporations are trying to prove that countries can no longer serve the needs of people, and they try to offer themselves as the next solution. Of course, this cannot be a bigger delusion because corporations, no matter how socially responsible they always are responsible to their stakeholders, and they need to generate value for stakeholders, which means to a lead group of owners. And they don't have really responsibilities to nations. State has to deliver the well-being of people who live in a certain area and belong to a certain political framework. So this is seriously challenged, and it couldn't be more applicable than discussion about the future of politics and what kind of role it can play in the world that is forthcoming, and how can we co-create something that will serve us based on already acquired awareness and consciousness as humans, individuals and collective. We learned from all isms that happened so far that only when you bring the needs of individual and of collective in a balance, that's where you can get then a balanced society. We're still failing to reach that balance, but at least awareness is there and we know what to seek for. So I hope I did bring some of the points forward that could serve us as discussion points during today's session. And I'd like at the end just like to put some statements forward about the politics, the way how I see it today. And it's worth saying that I was at the core of this politics and I could experience it, and I could now observe it from the outside as well. Politics is probably one of the last sectors of society that is not open for innovation. So politics is all about power and not innovation. So how can we bring that spirit to politics? Because I think that could make a big difference. It has no inspiration at this point, but only manipulation. And every election is just a great manifestation of that, because politicians promise, make big paroles, and then they forget who they serve. It's almost like to be elected is the goal. And once you get there, the job is done, instead of understanding that that's just a beginning. So I can then say that there is no care, there are only numbers. A huge space for improvement and future development.